Hey guys, it's Holly and it's finally Harry Potter season and it's time that I can kick off the reviews. Dude, I'm so excited. And we are going to start with the largest set in this wave and probably one of the best Harry Potter sets of all time, and that is set 76389, The Chamber of Secrets. Look at this thing. Oh my gosh. So this set has 1,176 pieces and will retail for $130 US and 230 Australian. This will be releasing June 1st, and thank you so much to Lego and Land for sending me this for early review. I'm so hyped. So this set is taken straight out of the second film. It is the first time we've actually gotten the Chamber of Secrets since 2002 and introduces this brand new kind of modular system, which it looks really exciting. And this set actually does contain 6 of the brand new collectible chocolate frog cards, which are completely random. I'm super hyped for this set and I'm sure you guys are too, so let's go have a look at it. So here is the entirety of the Chamber of Secrets, and honestly, this has to be one of my favorite Harry Potter sets of all time. I feel like it's not as good as the Great Hall, and that purely comes down to the minifigure selection. I feel like the Great Hall has a better all-round minifigure selection. However, you could just buy this and you've got the entirety of Hogwarts like ready to go. If you only want to get one Hogwarts set, this I feel like has to be the one you go for now. I really, really like this set. Now, there is a lot to unpack here, so I'm gonna start off, of course, as always, with the minifigure selection. Famous Harry Potter, who marks the return of the Sword of Gryffindor from the CBF Series 2, which is a piece, personally, I am very happy popped up again. And Harry comes with these beautiful, nice new robe pieces, which you'll also see in the Fluffy Encounter set. And then, of course, he's got his classic little scared young Harry Potter face and tousled hair, as well as his dark brown wand. Next up is our young Ginny Weasley, and this is the first time that she's come in a set besides the 2020 Diagon Alley, at least in her young form. And it's unfortunate with this figure, just like the Diagon Alley one, how she just has that kind of generic child face, which becomes a big problem in this set, as you'll see it kind of pops up a few too many times. But Ginny also does come with those nice new robe pieces. However, this time the robe is closed, and then her accessory is actually a stickered version of Tom Riddle's diary, which luckily is different to the 2 other versions that we've gotten previously. This one's kind of got the Basilisk fang marks, but without kind of all of the mess. However, on the inside, you just have a plain piece of parchment this time, which is accurate since his diary is completely empty for most of the film. So our next minifigure is Ginny in a wig. I'm just kidding. It's Luna Lovegood, and the only reason that this figure is classified as Luna Lovegood is because it's got her signature hairpiece. Because I know a lot of people, including myself, when this set got revealed, were hoping that this was Penelope Clearwater, but no, it's Luna. Why would Lego include two random students in one set? That's just, no, it's unheard of. But at least, even though Luna has the exact same face as Ginny, which, to be honest, I'm not really surprised at this point, at least she's got a brand new Ravenclaw robe torso, which looks beautiful. I'm so glad we're getting Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff torsos in this set. It's something I've really wanted to see for a long time, and I'm really happy. And Luna also comes with this little book accessory with a sticker on the front, and then when you open it up, you do actually get that potions print from the Hogwarts Moments books, which I thought was really nice reused part usage. Next up, we have Justin Finch Fletchley, who has a slightly different face to Luna and Ginny in that he doesn't have any eyelashes. Besides that, his face is exactly the same, which it's, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the constant reused young face prints, but at least just like Luna, he comes with a brand new Hufflepuff robe piece, which once again, is my favorite part. I love these robe pieces so much. I think they are fantastic, and I really hope that I can get a bunch more of these, although I have a feeling they'll be very expensive. And then I didn't really show this on Luna or Ginny, but as I was saying, I didn't really show the alternate face on Luna or Ginny, but just picture this face, but like with slight eyelashes on the sides, then that's what the alternate face looks like. Our final student is, of course, Colin Creavy, and believe it or not, he actually has a new face print. Yay, well done, Lego. He also has a brand new recoloring of the Han Solo hairpiece, which at first I didn't really like, but upon rewatching, I think it works really well, although personally, I would have gone dark tan for the color instead of this kind of nougat, but either way I think it looks really good, and he looks so cute and happy. And I love the little camera build that they've given him as well, with this giant flash sticking out of the side. I think that looks incredible. And just like Ginny and a lot of other characters in this set, he has those brand new closed robe pieces, this time for Gryffindor. And then when you swap his little super cheesy face round, which I think has an amazing print, you do get more of a sad one for when Harry says, "No, Colin, you can't take a photo of my limp limb on the Quidditch pitch." Our next minifigure is actually a redesign of a 2018 one, and that is Nearly Headless Nick. However, this time instead of being a grey minifigure, he's actually a glow-in-the-dark ghost. And then on the opposite face, he does have a more shocked, scared expression, which I think looks really cool and really captures as well when he got petrified. I mean, apart from the fact that his head was kind of hanging off at that point. And there's the glow-in-the-dark effect in action. I think it looks incredible, especially on camera. I feel like this looks even better than it does in real life. There you go. There's Nearly Headless Nick glowing in the dark. My camera is really struggling to kind of pick up the color as I move him around, but I think that looks amazing. It's a lot more dull in person, I will have to kind of warn you there, but he does glow pretty well and pretty solid, and I think it looks amazing in the dark. Like, this in real life really looks like a ghost. I think Lego did an amazing job here. Another remade character we have in this set is Tom Riddle, because I mean, you can't really do a Chamber of Secrets set without him. And from the front, I think this figure looks really good. I mean, his grey pants are kind of distracting, but as soon as you turn him slightly, bam, okay, you've got grey pants, and I'm not a big fan of that. I know a lot of people were saying, especially when this got revealed, that the torso and like the grey makes it look more movie accurate, and I do agree. The Hogwarts robes definitely had more of a grey tinge to them, but for me, in my personal opinion, I think these legs should not have been made. I feel like this was a waste of kind of leg printing. Like, the coattails piece would have worked perfectly, just like it did on that exclusive book variant that we have, although I do feel like the torso on this version is better, at least. It shows like the grey lapels a bit better, works really nicely, but these grey legs are so jarring, especially when there's no dual molding or side printing or anything like that. I think it looks kind of ridiculous in my opinion, but I do love that torso print, so I might try and combine them to make kind of the best Tom Riddle I can. One nice thing about this figure though, besides the kind of change in torso and leg print, is this updated face print, which I think works really well. I feel like the other one that they used was a bit too angry, and you could kind of tell because they used it on some other clone troopers, but just his regular one captures his kind of gloomy, dark, moody, and like teen angst Tom Riddle that like we all know and love. Introducing yet another obscure character, and that is Professor Sinestra, and I love this inclusion. I love getting just a bunch of random Hogwarts professors. That's one of my favorite things, and I think this figure looks beautiful. I love the skirt printing and the torso printing. It looks amazing, as well as the recolor as well of McGonagall's hair hat combo from the Hogwarts Moments books. That piece in general is just beautiful, so I'm so glad to see it being reused here. It really deserves to. Her face print is gorgeous. I'm so glad to see some more diversity in like the face prints, and I love her face. She also does get another smiling, happy alternate face, which I really want to get a second of and just reuse. I feel like it's so nice and it's so refreshing to see something like that from Lego. Because Lego loves the Richard Harris Dumbledore, of course we had to have a new version in this set, which I'm glad is different to all of the other ones we've gotten. My favorite is still the CMF Series 2 one, but I'm glad that this one also pays a homage to the original wave of sets where he had more purple / pinky kind of robes, but this also was like concept art used for this set. But to me, this version of Dumbledore is definitely kind of homage or an Easter egg to the original sets, which since these are 20th anniversary editions, I really love that inclusion. It's great though to see that they are reusing that white beard piece instead of the grey, because this one for the Richard Harris Dumbledore fits so much better. Then when you take his little beard off, you can see the printing a bit better, and there is just so much fine detail on this figure, and it all reflects in the light. It looks amazing, as well as some really nice back printing for his hat there. And this figure has the original kind of classic smiling Dumbledore faces, not that you can really tell his facial expressions from underneath the beard. Next up is the most exciting inclusion in this set, and that is a brand new Professor Lockhart. Before this figure, he was only able to be found in the expensive Diagon Alley D2C, and I'm glad they brought him back, even though it doesn't mean he's an exclusive character anymore, but I'm really glad that he has a brand new outfit. It is a shame though that they didn't give him his cloak, and while he didn't have his cloak in his office scene before they enter the Chamber of Secrets, right when Ron and Harry learn he's a phony, I feel like he's more known for having that cloak when they go down into the chamber, so it's such a shame that they didn't give him one, especially when the one in Diagon Alley did have a cloak as well, especially since there is no leg printing here. He's just got some plain legs. In saying that though, I think the torso print is amazing, and I'm really glad to see this wacky face print come back. I love this head on him. It just captures his personality so well, just like it did in the original Diagon Alley set. And lastly, we have our 20th anniversary figure for this set, and that is Lord Voldemort, or Lord Goldemort, as a lot of people have called him. And this figure is a really interesting inclusion. I get why Voldemort's included. He's the main villain out of the entire franchise, but it also seems a bit odd considering he wasn't in any of the films until the Goblet of Fire in his like kind of full human form, and which means he definitely wasn't in the original wave of sets, which this kind of 20th anniversary is referencing. But in saying that, I love this version of Voldemort. It is a gold recoloring of his CMF version with his kind of Deathly Hallows robes. I love all of the gold sparkles. I love the detailing, and just like the rest of the figures, he has the 20 years printing on the back. So with these 20th anniversary waves, there are also these brand new collectible chocolate frog cards, which are all randomized in each set. You're not guaranteed to get the same ones if you ended up with 2 of the set. But the problem with these, unlike I find with the random video beat bit tiles that exist in the LEGO video range, is that in the most expensive sets, these are actually spread up between multiple different bags. There's one in bag 1, there's one in bag 3, 5, 6, like they're all spread out rather than having all 6 of these tiles appear in one bag, which unfortunately means you could end up potentially with 6 of the exact same chocolate frog card. You could have multiples within the same set, and when you're buying these expensive sets, at least in my opinion, this should not be happening. In fact, it did happen to me in my Hogsmeade set, as you'll see in tomorrow's review, but this is just not on. But the tiles I ended up with in this set for me were Rowena Ravenclaw, Helga Hufflepuff, Professor Dumbledore, Professor McGonagall, the Silver Dumbledore, and Garrick Ollivander. So I thought I would show you guys this, but I will do a full video kind of talking through all of the chocolate frog cards as well as the ones that I ended up with out of these 4 sets that I currently have. So now that we've gotten the chocolate frog cards out of the way, let's start looking at this set, starting with the Basilisk. And compared to the 2018 version, this version of the Basilisk is leaps and bounds ahead, and that mainly I think comes down to this custom molded Basilisk head with an attachable kind of bottom lip. This looks incredible. I love this piece, and the printing on it as well is incredible. And after watching the Chamber of Secrets while building, it's extremely accurate as well. I love it, and all the teeth as well that are reasonably sharp but not sharp enough that you'd cut yourself. I just think this is amazing, and you can rotate his head as that is actually attached to a Technic pin. The rest of his body is using those really nice round cylindrical pieces, which you can adjust at 90-degree angles. So in fact, the instructions do say that the Basilisk should kind of be built like this and built very flat. However, I personally liked his head kind of poking up a bit more. The middle section of his body is entirely brick built, which is actually made out of a bunch of those tan teeth pieces, which I think looks really nice and has a lot of detail and gives this build some necessary texture. Then you do have this really nicely curved tail using a bunch of these kind of pieces and kind of like branches and greenery types of things. I really like the way this turned out, and I think this is a much needed step up from the 2018 version. This one actually looks like a Basilisk. While I don't think it's as good maybe as the 2002 one in terms of scale, I think accuracy wise this one has really hit the nail on the head. I just wish it could have been a tiny bit bigger. Like, he does look very small, and I guess it works with the scale of the set, but when you put him up to a minifigure, he looks more like a giant lizard than a scary snake. So let's take a look at the castle on its own. So first up, the building process. Now this is something I don't usually talk about on this channel, but I really wanted to highlight it for this set because to me it was very strange. This entire set, in my opinion at least, was built backwards. You actually start off with the roof pieces and then some of the classrooms and then the Great Hall and then the roof of the Great Hall, and then you go down to the base and then you kind of have to build it all up at the very end. Now 2021 has brought in this brand new kind of castle system where the entire thing is modular, which is why you have so many different sections. This can all be rearranged pretty much and really easily combines with the rest of the sets from this wave. But something that I know a lot of people were worried about is, will it combine with the rest of my sets from like 2018 onwards? And the answer is yes. There are a bunch of Technic holes on each level, in fact, not even just at the bottom. Each of these levels has a bunch of Technic holes on the side so that you can stick pins in there and you can connect it really simply and really easily. So thank you very much, LEGO, for thinking about that. However, this modular system is very skinny. There is not a lot of depth. So there are 3 different widths. You've kind of got this 8x8 one, this 8x16, and then 8 by whatever that is. I can't do quick maths off the top of my head, but there's a bunch of different sizes. But one thing that doesn't change is the width. There's no kind of depth. And if you're connecting them all, it kind of looks like a brick wall almost, like it's very, very flat. So you really need to separate these pieces and kind of angle them and rearrange them in order to give it a lot of depth and really make it look interesting, I found. So we're going to take a look at it piece by piece. So starting off, I want to have a look at the Great Hall and Chamber of Secrets entrance itself. So up first we have the Great Hall, which sits on top of the Chamber of Secrets. Now this is obviously not the first time we've gotten the Great Hall. It is kind of a much more scaled down version, a lot skinnier as well, using this kind of new modular system, but I still think it's a pretty neat inclusion. It's different enough from the Great Hall set. Like, this has nothing on the original Great Hall, but I think it was the perfect building to really put in this. But as you can see as well, it's just the perfect complement, I guess, to stack on top of the Chamber of Secrets. Now, just looking at the top half being the Great Hall section itself, overall the design is very similar. It's just a lot smaller and shrunken down and kind of squished. So this is actually in 3 sections. So at the bottom you have kind of the stone area, you then got the Great Hall, and then at the top you have these 3 individual roof pieces which can actually all be taken off and moved around, and that is the whole reason why this roof doesn't actually kind of attach very easily, is so that you can, if you really wanted to, put some of the Hogwarts pieces on the top here instead of having this roof. Now, like majority of the Hogwarts pieces in this set, you'd have some of the Technic bricks on the sides that you can connect it either to each other or to any of the old Hogwarts castles, as well as these tan frames on either side. So the Great Hall, you can tell it's the Great Hall. I love how they've done the floating candles with this by sticking them on the sides and on the back wall. If you remember in the 2018 one, they were just kind of floating from the ceiling, which I also like. But in this case, since you do have the detachable roofs, I think this was the best solution, and I really like how that was done. In terms of design though, the Great Hall is really simple. You've got these 2 platforms at the back for the Hogwarts professors, including this brand new golden kind of Hedwig build that we saw last year with her wings expanded. However, this time around there is no printing on it. It is purely for decoration, which looks very, very sick. And that basically just acts as Dumbledore's podium where he gives all of his speeches at the beginning of each year. So there is a spot to stick him down, as well as Professor Sinestra on the other side as well, giving that little platform, although it really doesn't resemble the table at all that the professors sit down on. But then again, at this type of scale, I don't really expect it to. In the middle, you have 2 sort of tables. This front one actually is attached to the Chamber of Secrets. I can pop the entirety of the Great Hall off, and as you can see, it kind of remains there. So it's a lot more separate. It's also really easy to detach because then you have access to one of the play features in the set. But on this table, there are some stickered bricks with these really nice prints, one saying Pixie Puffs and one saying Cheery Owls, which personally is my favorite of the designs. You also get a croissant, a chocolate frog and 2 little teacups on that table. Then behind there is a little bench for the students to sit at and have a drink and have a little bite to eat. And then on this back table, you have 2 goblets, another chocolate frog, and this platform that has been tiled off, which acts as a play feature to kind of represent the dueling club. So if you were to empty off the table, you could have one wizard stand there, and then you can put the other on this little platform here. And then at the back, if you just push it up, they go flying and kind of hit the roof and hit the ceiling, as you can see there. And lastly, for this level, there is a little fireplace at the back, which isn't too exciting, but it is accurate to how the Great Hall's designed, so it's a pretty neat inclusion. And lastly, for this level, there is a little fireplace at the back, which isn't too exciting, but it is accurate to how the Great Hall's designed, so it's a pretty neat inclusion. Heading up, we have a few little things up on the rooftop, starting with this really micro chess table. There's also a glow-in-the-dark head using one of those sphere pieces on the top, like Mysterio has, or even that was used in Sesame Street. This one's the clear one, typically used for Mr. Freeze's face. Over here, you have this Hogwarts stick-head banner, which I love the design of. I think this is really neat. And the fact that it's on black as well matches those like banners that were in that 2018 Great Hall set. And then if you lift it up, you can see a little place for the sorting hat, which actually is just sitting on one of those dog poop pieces. I'm not entirely sure why that was chosen. I'd like to think it was one of the owls just kind of having a little dump there before they drop off the mail. And at the very top as well, there's another chocolate frog, or maybe that could be Trevor the Toad. We're not too sure. Heading down, there are a few more little potions and bits like that, and by potions I mean one of these really nice leaf printed minifigure heads with a pink gem on the top, which on the other side has that little transcript, little written down thing. I'm not entirely sure what that says or what it's supposed to represent. I believe it's supposed to be sort of like runes based, and then next to it you just have a blue gem inside of a golden stud. Heading on down to the bottom, we have the most exciting part of this set, and that is the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. And considering the scale that this is on, I think LEGO did do a really good job. However, I wish, honestly, that the Great Hall just wasn't here and they really got to build up the chamber. I mean, scale-wise, it probably wouldn't match the remaining of the castle, but I think it would look a lot more grand to me. While this looks really good and really accurate, and I think it's very clever how they did the face with all of these curved and sloped pieces, it's just not too grand and exciting for me. In fact, Harry Potter stabs the basilisk on top of this face, but the actual minifigure itself like reaches halfway through his head. So it just doesn't have that same kind of moment of wow impact that I guess you got when you're watching the movies. On either side as well, there are these little snake builds which you can take off, which actually use some of the Ninjago serpentine headpieces, which I think look amazing recolored and really bring a lot to this set. So you can take these out and kind of build up the Chamber of Secrets in front if you really want to, but there is space for these to attach, which this entire thing is built up on those great pieces, so there aren't too many studs, but it is nice that LEGO really thought about that and still gave us a place to put them. Besides that, there's not really too much kind of in the middle. If you look through here, this entire thing is hollow. Like, there is not much happening on this level at all. You can see entirely through, and if those snakes weren't there, like the entire thing pretty much becomes hollow, which is kind of disappointing because I feel like there is so much detail in the Chamber of Secrets, and while it's not really focused on that area, there's that whole pathway down the middle with snakes on the side and the lakes and the water and more tunnels and things like that. But I guess it is kind of replicated here by using those light bluish gray arch pieces on either side. When you turn it around, you can see a lot of the rock detail as well as this little green frog, and you might be thinking, all right, well, not too much going on here besides the little torches, but actually you can swing these pieces out here and slide out this entire center console, which actually acts as the mouth to the beast, and on the back here you have a basilisk fang kind of sticking there. But this tunnel actually allows you to go all the way through to the Chamber of Secrets mouth, which then acts as a play feature, as even when the basilisk kind of has his head stick up, you can actually stick the entire thing through the entrance of the Chamber of Secrets and replicate that scene in the movie, although his tail kind of have to wiggle around towards the end because it's quite thick. but it works really nicely, and I definitely think when the Basilisk is here, even though it's not minifigure scale, it does look pretty neat and works really well for play-wise. I really appreciate LEGO thinking about that type of thing, and even though the Basilisk didn't really have a fang heading back in there, I thought that was really smart and really handy. And then all you do is slide that back in using those little rail pieces and then lock it with those 2 pieces again, and the Chamber of Secrets has its mouth back. Next up is the tallest tower in this set, which mostly consists of Defense Against the Dark Arts and Lockhart's office. So to start off with, I'm going to take this entire thing apart, and we're going to start with the bottom to kind of continue on from the Chamber of Secrets. So this entire section is built out of 4 parts. You have the Chamber of Secrets at the bottom, the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, Lockhart's office, oh forgive me, it's actually 5 because you have this little balcony platform here, as well as another sort of astronomy tower at the top. So you can take this apart, really rearrange it, but if you put it all together, you get this really nice looking tall building. So in a continuation on from the Chamber of Secrets in that last piece, you have the kind of the entrance here. Now overall, the Chamber of Secrets, not just this piece but the other piece as well, is quite empty, which honestly is quite a shame considering this is the whole like theme of this set. It's the title and everything, and while I think it's well done, it's like looking at this, it's very empty as well, especially when you don't really have the bathroom and that set's sold separately. So I do urge you, if you are going to get the Chamber of Secrets, I highly recommend getting the bathroom so that you can stack the 2 of these on top and make it a bit more accurate, because this slide is here, which is really nice to see actually, especially considering they literally do slide into the Chamber of Secrets. I love the use as well of the bones around the sides. Another aspect that I really like is when you turn it around and you've got all of the rock formations here, you've got a few holes and things like that, but it also starts to bleed into the regular Hogwarts coloring, which means this should be really easy to match up with any of just the regular castle pieces or even any of the 2018 sets. Now, since the girls' bathroom is an entirely separate set, LEGO did include a little play feature at the back, so you can take this entire rock piece off and still be able to slide some of the figures down and kind of replicate that bit from the Chamber of Secrets there, and they just pop out the other side. So that was some really kind of good thinking, I guess, from LEGO, so that way you can actually easily access the slide even when the castle is all built up. Moving up a level, and we do have the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, which this entire little banner thing can pop off, so it's easier to access all of the inside. However, if you are stacking it up, it does make it a bit less secure, so do keep that in mind. And this is actually the second time we have gotten the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom in LEGO form, but the first time we've ever had it from Lockhart's year of teaching. By far, my favorite inclusion on this level is the portrait of Lockhart painting himself, which you see as kind of Lockhart's walking down into the classroom for the first time. I think this absolutely looks incredible. On the left-hand side, you have one of those new candelabra pieces, which is actually going to be used for Lumiere in the future, which kind of gives you a nice little stance. There you have some sort of potion bottle and one of the brand new pink frogs, which were from the bonsai tree. On the left-hand side, there is another portrait as well as a skeleton head. There's this random kind of thing here. Now, in the set you do get the Cornish Pixies, however, they don't really say to put them anywhere, and looking back at this, honestly, you could put the Hedwig's cage from that poly bag on here and trap the Cornish Pixies in there, and I feel like you could replicate that cage scene all well. Moving on up to the next level, and we have 2 pieces, starting off with this little balcony type of platform, which has a broom stuck right down through the middle of it, so it's actually kind of hard to stick figures down onto any studs since all of the studs are at the back, but you can always remove it. It's pretty simple. And next to it, there's yet another chocolate frog / toad. But one of the little play features with this is this clear transparent rod, which makes it look like you can kind of have a student flying, or in this case, I decided to put the Cornish Pixies up there to make it look like they're causing some mischief around the castle, which I think looks really cute. So this is the first time that this piece has popped up in a set ever, and I love the design of the Cornish Pixies. I think they look really cute. They're not quite a micro figure. They're also not quite a micro doll. They kind of remind me of those board game pieces that existed in the early 2010s, or even the new Baby Groot that happened a few years ago. But my one complaint with the Cornish Pixies is the position of the wings. So up close, you can kind of see the molding between the ears and the wings. But I think because the wings are so high up, it kind of looks like it's got these 4 giant ears instead, which is a little bit frustrating considering they created this brand new molded piece. I feel like it would have been a lot better if the wings were a tiny bit lower down to really distinguish between its ears, its antennas, and its wings. Over to the left, we have Professor Lockhart's office, which is such a really neat design for a tiny space. I love the 4 portraits in the back there, which funnily enough even includes one of the promotional images for Harry Potter with Lockhart and Harry. That's always been my favorite promotional image whenever I talk about Lockhart to you, so I love seeing that in this set. You also have Lockhart holding a mirror. You have him when he thought he was a really great Quidditch player and slaying a dragon, you know, from all of the memories that he's stolen for other people. I really like that. Behind his desk, there is a sand blue chair for him to sit on, and on top of his desk, you do get his wig, which you can briefly see as you kind of walk into his office and see him packing up in the film. And then on his desk, there is a stack of grey plates, which on the top has a stickered piece of Gilderoy Lockhart's signature from when he's signing all of his autographs from Harry's detention. The windows at the back also feature this really nice curved piece, which I'll show you a bit later when we turn this building around and have a look at it from the outside. And lastly, because it wasn't enough just to repeat the Great Hall, we also had to repeat the Astronomy Tower with this little telescope build here, which, to be completely honest, I love this telescope build. I think it's really creative and really neat, and I love the design of it. It's just very strange to see this appearing in this set, especially since the telescope's literally pointing at the roof of this building. I don't really understand that, but next to it there's a nice printed sort of blackboard piece showing a bunch of constellations. I love the design of that. I think that's really neat and well placed. And then on the left hand side there's a glow-in-the-dark Technic ball. I'm not too sure why that's there, but it's a pretty neat piece nevertheless. On the other side there is a little platform as well to stick Hedwig, even though on some of the box art she's not necessarily in that position. And then here's the entire tower kind of build put all together from the outside. So you can see this building is quite large. Using these new drill pieces really adds a lot of extra height to the towers on this. And then as you start to head down, you can see what I mean by those window pieces. So I had a look at these when building. From my kind of recollection and memory, this is a new piece, which I think looks really, really slick and adds a lot of depth to an otherwise somewhat flat castle because of the way this kind of new modular system works. Like, look at how much kind of depth and dimension that gives it. I really like the use of that element. Heading down some more, you can see all of the windows, and there is a stickered Hogwarts crest tile, which there actually are 2 of these in this set. I really liked the design of these as well. And the last section of this set is the Chamber of Secrets door. Now this piece is kind of funny, even though it has Technical, so it can technically attach to the rest of the sets. It feels very separate and kind of just out of place. Like, I completely understand why it's in this set, considering the set's name is the Chamber of Secrets, so it makes sense to have the door here, and I really like the build of this, don't get me wrong. But it just feels really misplaced. Like, it kind of floats around, doesn't really have a spot. Yeah, I can connect it, but considering the height of everything else, it just doesn't really kind of look right, if you get what I mean. But nevertheless, I love the build of this door, using those snake pieces. While there's not technically the right amount of snakes, it looks amazing. I love how they've done the skeleton arms as well to open it up so that it can fit perfectly over the cylindrical entrance. Overall, it looks really slick. Even the green transparent pieces on the walls, it matches the snake heads in the Chamber of Secrets' actual entrance. I really, really like the way that this is all done. At the top, you've got some of the sand green pieces to tie it in with the rest of the set. And up at the top, perched on one of those tan pieces, we have one of the brand new printed owls, which looks really, really cute. And I love how they've done a brand new redesign rather than kind of just recoloring the Hedwig print. That looks super sick. On the inside, there is a kind of open stud. There's not really anything that's supposed to be there. Not too sure why it's there. At the bottom, there's another toad / chocolate frog. I really don't know why there's so many in this set, as well as some glow-in-the-dark transparent pieces, which I also don't get why they're there. To me, it just kind of looks like owl droppings, but I mean, I'm not entirely sure. So overall, there is the Chamber of Secrets, and I really think that this has to be one of the best Harry Potter sets out there. It's definitely not perfect. I feel like the chamber really should have been built up a bit more, especially since the set's name is the Chamber of Secrets. The fact that that entire floor feels really hollow is kind of disappointing. I wish there could have been a bit more decoration, but for what LEGO has managed to do in the scale that they're trying to achieve this year is incredible. I love the entrance as much as I wish it could have been a bit bigger. I think it matches the rest of the set really well. I love this brand new modular system. I think it's genius, and I hope that this kind of carries on in the future. As much as I kind of do want them to revert back to the grey walls once the 20th anniversary is done, I really hope that that stays around. There's a lot of detail packed into the set in such a small space, which I really like. The figure selection as well is really neat, pretty diverse. It's just a shame about the reuse kind of child heads, as 3 of the figures look almost identical. But overall, I can't recommend this set enough. I feel like this has to be a must buy on people's list, especially since it's the first time we've had an actual Chamber of Secrets since 2002. But let me know what you guys think, and if you plan on picking this set up. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below, because there are a bunch more Harry Potter reviews and videos to come. And until next time, I'll see you later.